How's it going, YouTube? Welcome back to your favorite aviation channel, and today we are here with the July 2023 update for Chicago O'Hare International Airport Terminal 5. Today's update is set between 2 to 3 p.m., so right during the afternoon international rush period. Got quite a bit of aircraft to cover in this update, a lot of stuff to talk about, so without any further delay, let's go ahead and get started. Alright, so we're going to get started over here at the new expansion portion of Terminal 5. Right here at gate M39 we have the Iberia Airbus A350-900. Just came in from Madrid as flight 6275. Now of course this is an A330-300 in real life, but nobody's made the Iberia new livery 330 in 400 scale in recent history, or at all from what I believe. So hopefully, I'm assuming NG models will make it at some point, so hopefully they do it soon because we're in desperate need of that, especially here for O'Hare. We haven't gotten the Iberia 350 regularly since 2019, I believe. They used to fly it daily, but since the pandemic it's just been the A330 ever since, and even before 2019 it was all A330s and actually A340s as well. The 340-600 used to fly here, and I think it was the 350 that replaced it on the route, and then ever since the pandemic they brought back the 330. But yeah, it's been kind of a mix and match lately, as it has been for many other airlines. Like Finnair has been 350 and 330. Scandinavian has also been 330 and 350. It's just been really crazy, but that's to be expected with a big market like Chicago. So that's M39 right here. I just wanted to briefly show you all M40 right here. I didn't want to show you, I just want to talk about it real quick. I did board out of this gate a few weeks ago when I flew to Dallas on Southwest, and that video has been uploaded, so be sure to check it out if you haven't already. It's a pretty long jetway, as you can see. This is kind of how it looks like, and the reason why it's so long is because the terminal doesn't extend all the way out this way. So to compensate, they added M40 right here, and then to compensate for it being so far out, of course the giant connector piece right there into the terminal for the jetway. So yeah, it really felt like it's a never-ending jetway. There's a bunch of jetways like this at O'Hare, but I believe M40 is the only one of like this length at Terminal 5. But yeah, so right here there would be some more apron, the ramp where all the vehicles would be stored, and then there's a fence like right here, and then the blast pad or the barricade will be right around here. So maybe I'll add that in the future, not too sure about that, but it might be something cool to add for the future videos. And then here's M38. I don't know if I showed you all this in the last update, but I did update this a little bit. M38 seems like it's just a narrow body gate. It's kind of angled out this way, and then M39's jetway is right around that same place, and it's mainly for wide bodies, as you can see. So that's kind of what that looks like. And of course, when I did fly out of Terminal 5 M40 a few weeks ago, I was able to again get a better idea of where all the gate stands are at. So I tried updating that on this diorama. I have some more work to do, so we'll see when I get all those changes made by. But yeah, Terminal 5 diorama here is getting along pretty well, and every time I visit the terminal it seems like I learn something new. And of course you've been seeing those changes over the past few months as I keep making these videos, which is really cool. Next up here at gate M37 we have the American Airlines Boeing 787-9 just getting serviced after its arrival from London Heathrow as Flight 87. And just pushing back here from gate M34 we have the first of a couple new models to showcase in this update. It's the gorgeous Lufthansa Boeing 747-8 in the old livery. It's just getting pushed back. It'll get repositioned over to Terminal 1 for its departure back to Frankfurt as Flight 431, and it came in about an hour and a half ago as Flight 430. This is actually a new release by Phoenix. They released it just this past month along with two old livery Lufthansa A380s, and it's actually one of two new Lufthansas I've been able to add recently. When I went to the Airliners International Convention in Dallas last month, I got a couple models from there, including the Lufthansa old livery A340-600, which hopefully you'll see in, if not the next update, then the update after that. This model I purchased off Waffle Collectibles. As soon as they got it, I ordered it, and I'm really glad I did because this is a gorgeous model. It's really a model I've been wanting to get for a very long time. Prior to Phoenix making this release, the last Lufthansa old livery 748 release was Gemini Jets in 2013 or something like that. So yeah, really gorgeous model, especially considering most of the Lufthansa 747-8s are still in the old livery. It's still a pretty relevant model, and this is the ABYU, which I have seen at O'Hare back in 2019. So really cool to have this. And yeah, they do use M34 occasionally, the 747. I'm not too sure how often, but I have seen them use this gate every now and then. Usually they don't. They usually tend to take a gate closer to the middle or the central area. But every now and then you will see flight 430 take this gate. Not too common though, but it does happen every now and then. Alright, so next up here is something I haven't really showcased in previous Terminal 5 updates, but United does have a few summer seasonal international routes on the 757. So in today's update you're going to see two of them. Right here is a 757-200 in the old livery, just came in from Reykjavik, Iceland. That's flight 913, so that's a seasonal, I believe it is a seasonal route that United operates during the summer, and it's on the 757. Only 757 flying between Chicago and Reykjavik these days, as Iceland Air unfortunately is of course on the MAX 8 and MAX 9. They don't fly 757s here anymore. But next here is the 787-8. This just came in from, I believe this is this is Paris Charles de Gaulle. Yeah, Paris Charles de Gaulle, arrival as flight 986. And then next over here is another 757-200, this time in the new livery. This aircraft came from Edinburgh, Scotland, and that's flight number 119. So Edinburgh, Dublin, Shannon, those are all seasonal 757 routes that United has operated from O'Hare in the past. But of course, Dublin and Shannon, I can't remember if those are operating right now, but obviously those don't arrive into Terminal 5 because Dublin and Shannon are both, I'm not too sure about Shannon, but I know for a fact Dublin has a pre-clearance facility. So passengers go through customs in Dublin or in Ireland before they get on the flight back to the US. So as soon as they arrive back in the US, they are essentially treated as domestic flight passengers, and so all Irish arrivals go to the standard Terminal 1 for United or Terminal 3 for American. But Edinburgh, Scotland, they don't have pre-clearance, so that's why they are over here, Terminal 5. Over here at gate M29, we have the Southwest Boeing 737-700 in the Canyon Blue livery. This just came in from Denver as flight 676. It's continuing onwards to Tampa with that same flight number. And just next door is another 737-700 in the Hart livery this time. This aircraft came in from Tampa as flight 2071, and we headed out to Austin as flight 3782. And next at M27, we have the United 787-10. I don't know if I can get the whole plane in the frame here. This aircraft came in from Brussels. Yeah, Brussels is flight 973, just getting offloaded and serviced here. Next is the Scandinavian A330-300, just came in from Stockholm as flight 945, headed out as flight 946 in about 2 hours. I think it's a 4:15 departure. And freshly arrived from Doha is the Qatar Airways 777-300ER. That's flight 725, and it's just getting offloaded here. Just arrived into the gate from Doha. Next up here is the Volaris Airbus A320neo, just pushing back with service out to León, Mexico. I'm not too sure what the proper name for the airport is. The airport code is BJX, but I've heard it be called various names. Guanajuato, Silao, León del Bajío. I'm not too sure what the exact name of the airport is, but it's going off to, I'm going to say León. It's going off to León as flight 290. Arrived earlier from Morelia as flight 297. And we do have some news regarding Volaris at the end of the video. That's when we're going to cover all the new route announcements, just news regarding O'Hare. Volaris does have some exciting new routes coming up soon, so stay tuned till the end of the video. We're going to cover those then. Here's the second new model of the update. I did purchase this at Airliners International. Finally got a KLM 787-10. This is flight 611, just came in from Amsterdam, and we flight 612 in about 2 hours back out to Amsterdam. So KLM does fly the 78X here pretty much daily. This is probably the most common plane you'll see for KLM in Chicago. Sometimes I think during the winter season or not the summer. The summertime is like almost every day 787-10, but other times they'll kind of mix and match between a 222 and a 789. But 787-10 is probably your best bet if you want to spot KLM. It's most likely going to be the 787-10. So really glad I finally got this model. It's a beautiful one. I was actually holding off on it because I thought the 333 would hold me off well enough, but I saw it at the convention and I was like, you know what, I might as well buy it, and I'm glad I did because it is a beautiful model. Next up here at gate M19, we have the lot Polish Boeing 787-9. Just came in from Warsaw as flight 1, which is the airline's flagship route, and its next flight will be out to Krakow as flight 9. I used to keep pronouncing it Krakow, but I looked it up, and apparently in Polish they pronounce it Krakow, so hopefully I pronounced it correctly this time, but that's where it is headed off to next as flight 9. Next here, pushing back from gate M18, is the Aeromexico Boeing 737-800 headed off to Guadalajara as flight 653, and came in earlier from Guadalajara as well as flight 652. Here at M17, we have the Aer Lingus Airbus A330-300. Just came in on one of 2 daily flights that the airline has to Chicago during the summer season. This is the afternoon service, flight 123 in from Dublin, and it'll depart back to Dublin in about 2 hours as flight 124, I believe. So yeah, I've been saying 2 hours, 4 p.m. this entire update, and that's because a lot of the European airlines, they basically have the same arrival and departure banks. So like we said, KLM, Scandinavian to Stockholm, Iberia, British Airways, they all have around 2 p.m. arrival time, and likewise they all pretty much depart back out to their respective hubs around 4 to 5 p.m. during that time slot. So this flight here is no exception. Flight 123 in from Dublin, soon flight 124 back to Dublin. Alright, we're going to switch to my phone this time because, surprise, surprise, my camera was very low on battery, but hopefully the audio doesn't change super drastically. Pushing back from M16 is the Swiss Airbus A330-300. This is operating one of 2 flights during the summer season that the airline has to Chicago. This is flight 6 in from Zurich, but now pushing back as flight 7 back to Zurich. Like we covered previously, flight 7 and 8, which is the year-round service, gets upgauged to a 333 during the summer and most of the fall season. But this one, flight 6 and 7, is just a seasonal flight, and it's the A330-300. That's going back to Zurich. At M15, the British Airways Boeing 777-300ER just came in from London Heathrow as flight 295. It'll be operating flight 294 back to Heathrow in about 2 hours' time. This was a 333 for a good while until a few weeks ago. Not even a few weeks ago, I think maybe, yeah, about 2 weeks ago actually. They upgauged, or not upgauged, sorry, they switched it to the Air Belgium A330-900neo. So that aircraft has been wet leased by British Airways to operate flight 295, 294 between London and Chicago through, I think, November or something like that. That's the second wet leased aircraft that we have operating to Chicago right now. The other one being the High Fly A330-300 that Scandinavian has wet leased for the Copenhagen service. So yeah, Air Belgium 330neo is operating the first of 2 daily flights of BA into Chicago, and I do have that model on order, so expect to see it in a future update. I can't wait to showcase that. It's quite a unique plane, and Air Belgium has never been to Chicago before in the past, from what I can tell, so that'll be really cool to both spot in real life and also showcase in these videos. All right, next up at M14, let's move over there. It's the United 767-300. This aircraft just came in from Zurich, Switzerland as flight 12, just docked up here and is now offloading passengers. All right, moving on to the Delta section of the terminal. We have a 757-200 here pushing back for Atlanta, of course, as flight 2865. Next up here is an A321. This is headed off to Salt Lake City as flight 2087, to and from Salt Lake City. Of course, it's an A320 in real life. Don't have that model, so we're using the 321 as a substitute. Hopefully, I'm assuming NG is going to make a 320 soon. I would not be surprised. It might take some time, but eventually they will make it, and we'll get it. And this is another new model. I didn't even realize. This is a Gemini Jets A321. You've seen my 2 NG versions in the past, but this is a Gemini Jets version that I bought literally out of the blue. I didn't buy this from the convention, actually. I bought this off of Waffle Collectibles as well, and the reason is because this is actually the 321 that I flew from LAX to Atlanta back in January, 327DN. You can see the registration right there, and I had no idea they had a model of it. I was just looking, I was on Waffle Collectibles randomly, and I see this listed, and I was like, that registration looks awfully familiar. So I checked the flight that I took from LA to Atlanta back in January, flight 559, and sure enough, it was the exact same plane. I didn't even know there was a model of it. So as soon as I realized, I bought it, and here it is, 327DN, the model of the 321 that I flew back in January. And check out the video if you haven't already. It was a pretty cool video to make. I don't know It was my first ever transcon flight, so another memorable reason for why I bought the model. I don't know, but yeah, cool to have. It's, I mean, kind of redundant because I already have two other Delta 321s. My Delta fleet, I never intended it for it to be this big, but it's just growing for whatever reason. So maybe I might do a one-off update for Atlanta Concourse A or B or whatever sometime in the future. I don't know, but yeah, that's a new model. And here we have two A220s. Yes, I did buy another one at the convention. I've been saying that I've been needing to get more A220s for a while, and unfortunately these both are the same registration, but you probably don't notice, right? Right here is the A220-100. This is going to be operating flight 1559 to and from New York LaGuardia, and then this one is operating flight 1019 to and from Detroit, and that one I believe is a 717 flight. I do have the 717 on order. Hopefully by the next update you will see it. Really excited to finally get a Delta 717. Been needing that one for a very long time. And Gemini Jets has, of course, they just recently released one. So I have one on order for now, but in the future I might add another one just because they are pretty common here in Chicago. So yeah, those are all the Deltas I have, and that concludes the all the aircraft. So without any further ado, let's go ahead and conclude this update with some news updates regarding O'Hare. All right, so as you recall, a few minutes earlier in the video, I did say that we have some news regarding Volaris at O'Hare, and that is true. Volaris, right now, the airline that operates to O'Hare is the main Volaris based in Mexico. We will be getting Volaris El Salvador, which is their, of course, subsidiary based in El Salvador. Starting from November, they're going to be starting new service between San Salvador and Guatemala City to O'Hare. On November 3rd, I believe, is when the service launches. So they're going to be flying from San Salvador to O'Hare with a stopover both ways in Guatemala City. So very significant. It'll be the first time in quite some time that both San Salvador and Guatemala City are served from Chicago. We used to have, I think, American Airlines serve Guatemala City seasonally nonstop, but they don't fly that route right now as far as I'm aware. And I'm not too sure if Avianca or anybody else served Guatemala City nonstop previously, but San Salvador, I believe Avianca used to serve back in the day until they cut the route in 2019, but I could be wrong on that. But Volaris El Salvador, which is, you know, their subsidiary based in El Salvador, they have like 3 or 4 planes, all 320 Neos. They are launching service to O'Hare in November. Really exciting. There aren't any models, unfortunately, of Volaris El Salvador. So hopefully somebody can make one of those soon, because they do have a pretty cool, it's a little bit different than the current Volaris livery, or actually it's not too different, but there's some slight variations of it from the standard Volaris livery, which is pretty cool. So that's the first bit of news. There's actually a lot of new Central American routes starting this year. Either they're resuming or coming back, or that's what resuming means, sorry. Either they're resuming or brand new altogether. There's quite a few new routes to talk about. And the second one is Avianca, like we mentioned earlier. But Avianca is starting a completely new route. I don't believe they've done this before from Chicago. It's going to be Bogota, Colombia to Chicago starting in December 5th, I believe. And I think it might be seasonal. I could be wrong, but Avianca, they're going to be doing, I think, A320 Neo service between Bogota and O'Hare starting December. So really exciting. I'm happy to see Avianca coming back. I didn't even realize before, like when I started doing this Terminal 5 project, I thought Avianca still flew here from San Salvador, but it looks like they cut the route in 2019, and I didn't even know that they did that. So they're coming back from Bogota this time, and I believe this is the first time, if not the first time in a long time, that they have served Colombia nonstop from Chicago. So another direct or nonstop service to South America, which is really cool. The only other one we have right now is United, their flight to Sao Paulo in Brazil. Aside from that, we have no other nonstops to the entire continent of South America. So really excited for Avianca to be coming back. And there was one more, I think we have Contour Airlines. They're going to be starting service in August. So next update, I will be sure to add them in there, because I did buy the model, the E145 model from airliners. So that'll be really cool to include in the next update. Aside from that, what else do we have? So yeah, other news. This is really random, but Alaska Airlines, they will be starting a seasonal service. Their first, I believe their first and only international route from O'Hare. It's going to be to Zihuatanejo, Mexico in December. Yeah, December. It's gonna be, I don't know why they're doing it, but they are launching that seasonal route in December. Like I said, I don't believe they've done any international flights from O'Hare in the past, so that'll be cool to put in these updates. From December, you'll see Alaska Airlines in these updates now. There is also a rumor that JetBlue is moving all of their operations to Terminal 5, which is great because that's more madness to add to this terminal already. So not too sure when JetBlue is going to move, but it is on the plans for JetBlue to move across to T5. And so yeah, that's Alaska. Like we covered previously, Cathay Pacific is coming back in October with the 350-1000, and they'll later switch to a 350-900 on the Hong Kong service. And I think that's it. Of course, you might have seen O'Hare did get hit by a tornado a few weeks, or you're seeing this video on the 22nd. So the week before, we had some pretty severe weather in Chicago. Thankfully, not much where I was at. The severe weather kind of built up more as it hit Chicago and the Chicagoland area. So O'Hare, literally, there was a tornado right across the street in Rosemont. And so the airport went into a full ground stop. People were sheltering in place, even on board. Well, I don't think they were sheltering on board the planes, but everything was just frozen at O'Hare. So it was pretty crazy to see that on the news. We did get a few diversions in Rockford, like 5 or so, which is not much compared to what we usually get. We got about 4 Uniteds and 1 Qatar Cargo 777 freighter. I wasn't there to see it, sadly, but that's what happened. So yeah, that's all the news I have for O'Hare. So with that being said, we have reached the end of this update. Hope you all enjoyed it. If you did, don't forget to leave a like and also a comment if you have any feedback. Subscribe if you're new around here. If you want to see more videos, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. But thank you all so much for sticking around with me till the very end. A lot of great videos planned for the remainder of the summer. And let me know if you want any specific videos to make that I should make, let me know. And I will do my best to, respond to your requests. But anyways, thank you all so much again for tuning in. Take care, everyone, and I will see you next time. Goodbye.